So listeners, for the third episode, we have आज के मार्गदर्शक अंशुमन शर्मा. He is a content producer at Tanmay Bhatt's YouTube channel Clueless, an economics graduate from NMIMS Mumbai. He has previously worked in a wealth management startup in the Department of Sales and Strategy. Apart from being an avid sports person, Anshuman is also a CFA level 2 candidate. So I just have one question for you. Was the Sharma ji ka beta like title to the driving force for you to give up sports and enter the corporate world?
No, no, no. Not at all, not at all. I just realized that I wasn't good to compete on a national level and make money out of it. That's it. That's why I quit sports.
Okay, that's on a funnier side, but on a serious note, what made you, divert or transition yourself from sales to the financial world that you are in as a content writer?
No, no. I used to say, like, there as well in the wealth management startup, I used to sell mutual funds and investment solutions.
All right.
So it was about finance, it was about investments. I just happened to be in sales. So I was always interested in finance, I was always interested in investments, and I'm just continuing it here with another role. But the crux of my job is still the same, talking about finance, talking about investments.
Right,
And
right.
right now, even if I'm not selling the product as of now, I'm still selling my brand, I'm selling my information, I'm selling my content to a very bigger audience as of now. So
Correct.
this is also kind of a sale. It's a very similar job, and I mean, not at the primary level, but if you look at it, it's a very similar job for me, because even now I just have to convince people that I know things and what I'm saying is right.
And
So
on a, if you have to rank yourself, since you said that you have that vision, or have that wisdom and knowledge, how would you rank yourself when it comes to financial wisdom and knowledge?
I would say like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10. See, the main for me, it has always been investing is about having your skin in the game.
Correct.
Being in the market, investing in the market, making enough mistakes to learn from them. And Abhi, I have been an active participant since just 2 years. So I haven't had enough experiences and enough instances from where I can learn. So it's a very like I'm an infant in the industry. I'm an infant in stock investing. So वो तो है like it's on the lower side. But
Right.
if you compare it to India, then India में सिर्फ 4.5 करोड़ investors है.
Right.
130 करोड़ में से 4.5 करोड़ investors है जो स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. तो 1% उधर ही हो गया. So उसमें से the number might be on the higher side, but if you look at the wisdom level, तो एक दो 1 or 2 out of 10, very honestly.
So
Got it.
what
Got
led
it.
you to choose finance as the stream? Like, और कुछ choose क्यों नहीं किया?
So basically, while I was studying economics, like I think 1 year after my college started, I happened to luckily join Kotak Mahindra for my summer internship. And there I was under the mentorship of a branch manager who used to teach me about everything in finance. And then used to like, ki go aur tum sale karke aao. And that's when I was introduced to mutual funds, insurance, hedging, arbitrage. और वो सब से मुझे थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट है कि हाँ दिस इज समथिंग वेयर इन आई डू नॉट हैव टू पुट अ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट एंड इट कम्स नेचुरली टू मी. सो आई थॉट कि हाँ ये ट्राई करके देख सकते हैं. एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड स्पेशलाइजिंग इन फाइनेंस कॉलेज में. देन आई डिड सीएफए जॉब वगैरह में. तो आई रियलाइज कि हाँ दिस कम्स नेचुरली टू मी एंड पता नहीं चलता कि टाइम जा रहा है. सो करते गया. दैट्स इट. फिर आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग एंड एवरीथिंग एंड हाँ बस वैसा ही. आई
Great.
जस्ट फेल्ट कि इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग. दैट्स इट.
Right. Okay. Thank you for this background. We'll move on to the third segment. And okay. So moving on to the third segment, Anshuman, you selected the episode name to be "Investing is not only about numbers." So I mean, if I'm making a good cup of tea of investment, what else should I add? Should I, it's not just numbers, of course. There's a story involved in it. There's some financial discipline also required. So what are you hinting at over here, actually?
So for anyone who wants to invest in stock markets, सबको लगता है बहुत बड़ा barrier है, which is like you have to know a lot about the fundamentals, about the math, you know, कि ये कैसे calculate करते हैं, ये कैसे calculate करते हैं, ये कैसे calculate करते हैं. But honestly, I personally believe कि ऐसा नहीं है. The first thing which you have to know is to actually put your money and observe your reaction and observe your emotions when the markets go up and down. And then that is the point when you will realize कि तुम क्या हो, क्या ये तुम्हारे लिए है, क्या ये मतलब then you will realize कि हाँ मैं कहाँ stable feel करता हूँ, मैं कहाँ अपने emotions को handle कर सकता हूँ. So my point is, it's not just about numbers. It was never about numbers. If you look at it, if that was the case, the best stock investors out there would have been economists. बिकॉज उन लोगों ने सारे थियोरीज बनाए. मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थियोरी हो गया, एफिशिएंट मार्केट हाइपोथेसिस हो गया, सारे थियोरीज उन्होंने ही बनाए. बट इफ यू लुक एट इट, दे आर नॉट द बेस्ट स्टॉक इन्वेस्टर्स आउट देयर. सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज वर्ल्डली विजडम. हाउ कैन यू असेस थिंग्स अराउंड यू, कि क्या तुम इस चीज को ए को बी के साथ कनेक्ट करके एक स्टोरी बना सकते हो. बिकॉज माय पॉइंट इज कि एक कंपनी है, हर एक कंपनी स्टोरी बेचने की कोशिश कर रहा है. उस स्टोरी के बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. एक होता है न्यूज हो गया, मतलब एक होता है नंबर्स वगैरह हो गया. एक हो गया मीडिया कवरेज, ठीक है, कि कैसा मीडिया, हाउ डज मीडिया परसीव योर कंपनी, व्हाट आर द नंबर्स अराउंड यू. एंड थर्डली हो गया कि व्हाट इज द विजन. अब जो विजन वाली चीज है, दैट कैन नेवर बी क्वांटिफाइड, और वो एक्सेल में कभी क्रंच किया ही नहीं जा सकता. That's your understanding कि इनका जो विजन है, क्या ये विजन रियलिटी के साथ मैच हो रहा है. सेकेंडली, अगर ये रियलिटी के साथ मैच हो रहा है, क्या ये विजन एक्चुअल में आगे जाके काम आएगा लोगों को. बिकॉज एवरी कंपनी सेज कि आफ्टर 10 years आवर प्रोडक्ट विल बी समथिंग विच विल चेंज द वर्ल्ड. ठीक है, इट विल चेंज द वर्ल्ड, अग्री, बट डू वी नीड द चेंज? It's the same with crypto, right? Crypto का क्या हो रहा है? 2 years पहले everyone realized कि we don't need decentralization. We don't care. हमें गवर्नमेंट पे ट्रस्ट है. गवर्नमेंट एक लेवल पे ही नोट्स छापेगा, and we think कि ये नोट्स की वैल्यू एक लेवल के नीचे नहीं जाएगी. That change was necessary. वो लोग का अच्छा है, सही है कि लिमिटेड है चीजें और सब कुछ सही है. क्रिप्टो का इंटेंट was always right, but we didn't need that intent. 2 years later, when banks started, when government started printing notes,
now we
जब
know.
होने लगा तो सब, yeah, now everyone started getting scared कि हाँ, maybe we might need this technology to be around us. Same वही assessment हमें करना जरूरी है कि क्या 10 साल बाद जब Samsung 2010 में बोला था कि मैं एक folding phone लाऊंगा, क्या उसकी जरूरत थी? वो चीज assess करना बहुत जरूरी है, which can be never done with numbers or P ratio, PEG ratio, profitability. ये सब से नहीं हो पाएगा वो चीज is just about reading and understanding your understanding the industry and understanding the industry's future aspects and future offerings. So that is one thing. ये चीज है सबसे important कि क्या ये चीज useful होगी. And secondly, अगर 20 साल बाद ये useful होगी, क्या मैं 20 साल तक वो स्टॉक पकड़ पाऊंगा?
Right.
वो बात है. That's key. Will I be able to hold that for 20 years? Because if I'm not confident enough, if I don't trust that company enough, one bad news or one small hiccup will make me think twice.
Yes.
So is it just about numbers? Highly debatable. So मतलब basically वही है.
Okay, so when you were talking about crypto, I got
that is numbers.
Darshan, okay, ask now. Darshan, ask now.
So in contradiction to the episode name that you have given us, that is numbers is not, investing is not all about numbers, but since the last 1 year we have been seeing a lot of numbers coming in that economy itna se contract hone wala hai. Even CFA, like you are crunching numbers on a daily basis. So don't you think that at the end of the day, investor is going to look into those numbers before making an investment decision?
Of course. That's why I said, I didn't say investing is not about numbers. I said investing is not just about numbers. The thing is, if I do not read up the news, if I do not know what's happening around the world, और अगर मैं CFA करूँगा, then that CFA might not be very valuable for me in real terms. मैं marks ले आऊँगा, मैं किसी को पढ़ा लूँगा, मैं content भी produce कर लूँगा, but when I'm going there and when I'm picking stocks, that information separately, एकदम अलग से, that information will not be very useful. That was my point.
Correct. And so talking about this whole currency and regulation stuff, I went through a story yesterday, Instagram story, which, you had put up this question that if corporates should be allowed to give out their own currencies or not. So
yeah,
what was the view behind it? Where do you see this future? What was your answer to that question?
So my point is कि so now 200 साल 100 साल पहले there was gold backing the currency, right? कि एक gold था, gold के against paper छप रहा है, तो basically अगर 1000 रुपए है तो 1000 रुपए basically is converted to like 0.01 grams of gold और ऐसा था. और उसके पहले it was nickels, bags of rice, बहुत सारा था. Now it's not that. अब ऐसा है कि अब कोई asset back नहीं कर रहा है. अभी सिर्फ एक promise है कि ये जो notes है, these notes are issued by the government and the majority of the citizens in the country is trusting that government कि जब तक ये government है और हम कोई transaction करने जाएंगे, the government will make sure that this transaction is fulfilled. ठीक है? So basically we are trusting the government. ये trust पे पूरा currency चल रहा है. Now my point is कि कोई corporation है, ठीक है? And that corporation is, let's say, regulating the entire retail segment. ठीक है? पूरा रिटेल वो हैंडल कर रहा है कि कंप्यूटर स्टोर भी रिलायंस हो गया, कोई भी एग्जांपल रिलायंस हो गया, रिटेल ग्रोसरी भी रिलायंस हो गया, हर चीज रिलायंस हो गया. एंड यू एज अ कंज्यूमर इज रियलाइजिंग दैट 90 to 80% ऑफ माय monthly expenditure, except for the rent and everything, is going to a single corporation. In such a scenario, a corporation can easily come up with their own currency. क्योंकि उनको भी पता है कि ये जो करेंसी है, अगर मैं डालूंगा, अगर मैं if I am printing this currency, then I am also making sure that this currency is only being used under my umbrella.
Yes.
Right.
So for any corporation out there, this is very profitable. This is very, for them, this is the vision कि भाई ये तो मेरे लिए perfect scenario है, win-win scenario है. अब बात आती है क्या हम इस चीज को adapt करेंगे? That is the question which I was struggling with that day also. और मेरे को भी लगता है कि अभी तो ये नहीं होगा, अभी तो ये नहीं होगा कि कोई एक कॉर्पोरेशन अपना करेंसी रेगुलेट कर पाएगा, करेंसी चला पाएगा, एंड मतलब सिटीजन्स मान लेंगे इस चीज को कि हाँ 50% ऑफ माई सैलरी या 40% ऑफ माई सैलरी आई एम फाइन विद टेकिंग via Amazon chips या कुछ भी ऐसा. Facebook came up with their own digital currency. Firstly, the question which I asked 2 days back, it's not something far from reality. Facebook already came up with the digital currency known as Libra. So मुझे वही जानना है कि जैसे जैसे single corporations keep becoming more powerful, is it the next future? And it might be honestly. अगर if Facebook, why is Facebook the best example to actually start their own digital currency? Because they own 80% of the social media. WhatsApp पे पेमेंट आ गया, Instagram पे भी शॉप्स आने लगेंगे चाइना के तरह, ठीक है, और फिर बाद में Facebook भी है. If they start their own currency, they can act. सबसे बड़े बेनिफिशियरी वही होने वाला है. So I don't know ये होगा कि नहीं, but for them this is the best case scenario for the corporation. So let's see कहाँ जाएगा, but होगा. A lot of corporations will try doing something like this.
So talking about the economy and currency, it was in class 11 जब मैंने पहली बार सुना था कि India is the fastest growing economy in the world. अभी भी यही सुन रहा हूँ कि India is still the fastest growing economy in the world, and this pandemic has definitely pushed India बहुत पीछे छोड़ दिया है. Now, what are your thoughts about the recovery? How long is it going to recover from this situation?
It will take time. Definitely it will take time. But coming to your previous statement कि India is growing at a very fast level, I personally agree. I personally believe कि next 10-15 years इंडियन कॉर्पोरेशंस के लिए मतलब it will be game changing for them. It will be game changing. You think about it. 4 साल पहले तक इंडिया में सिर्फ 200 से 300 मिलियन लोगों के पास फोन्स थे. They were connected to the internet. In the last 4 years, that number has almost gone up by 1.5 times. Abhi 200 million more people will be connected to the internet. That's a big up for every company out there in the country which is trying to, because कुछ ना कुछ तो तुम्हारा इंटरनेट के साथ होगा ही. And internet becoming cheap, internet getting cheaper is a very big plus for the entire economy. So and secondly, it's very easy to come up with. It's easier. The infrastructure and everything in the country right now actually facilitates you to start your own company, start your own thing. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि इकोनॉमी, हाँ जीडीपी वगैरह खराब चल रहा है. डीमॉन के टाइम से ही ग्रोथ मतलब इम्प्रूवमेंट तो नहीं हुआ है. व्हाट हैपेंड इन 2020 वाज नॉट 2020 स्टैंड अलोन.
करेक्ट.
पहले का भी था. इट जस्ट we just got exposed. We just came to know about the reality कि ये तो ऐसा चल रहा है. Actual में things which were being portrayed and जो actual reality is a little different. But I am very bullish. On the Indian economy कि next 10-15 years में corporations, नए companies, नए startups बहुत ज़्यादा growth होगा. And this is coming from a very privileged place. This is coming from a place where I am only exposed to a tier 1 environment. But I think next 10-15 years में अच्छी growth story. Like I can also say that one of the banks might be bigger than JP Morgan. Okay. One of the banks. I'm not naming that bank, but it's very easy to guess. But it might be bigger than JP Morgan in the next 10-15 years. Definitely. जो चल रहा है. Credit has been, if you think about it, credit has been unlocked in the last 2 years or 3 years. 3-4 साल से credit unlock हुआ है. Easy credit मिलना. And ये मतलब credit runs the economy. Credit plus the demographics. 19 to 35 के age में 65% हमारी वो है पूरी population. And we want to spend a lot, and it's very easier to spend right now. In such a scenario, banks, NBFCs, and सबका बहुत ज़्यादा फायदा होगा और हमारा भी per capita spending बहुत ऊपर जाएगा. और जब spending बढ़ेगा तो economy as a whole भी grow होगा ही. That's my belief. Personal belief है.
Contradicting to what you just mentioned, that ki startups growth and all is going to happen in the economy, we have bigger corporates. I'm not going to name them, but who are just rushing to create a monopoly in every field, be it technology, be it data services, be it telecommunications. So going down the line, what if these corporates grow big and the market dynamics entirely change into oligopoly? So what's the scenario then?
उसमें भी you have to think कि if XYZ company controls 40% of the retail, वो 40% सिर्फ वो कंपनी नहीं हैंडल करने वाली है. वो कंपनी बहुत सारी कंपनीज को एब्जॉर्ब करेगी. So in the end, I am agreeing that the balance of power is shifting. Definitely, obviously कहीं मतलब concentrate हो रहा है. But बहुत सारे छोटी कंपनीज एब्जॉर्ब होने लगेगी. बहुत सारे सप्लायर्स आएंगे. Like even if like all these oil companies, they have a derivative. प्लास्टिक बनाते हैं वो लोग. ठीक है. कोई भी ONGC हो गया, ऑयल इंडिया हो गया, रिलायंस हो गया, सब प्लास्टिक बनाते हैं बिकॉज इट्स अ क्रूड डेरिवेटिव. तो प्लास्टिक जो बनाते हैं वो बनाने के लिए वो लोग बहुत सारी छोटी कंपनीज को वो लोग एम्प्लॉय करके रखे हुए कि तुम सिर्फ हमारा काम करोगे. तो मेरा पॉइंट ये है कि इवन इफ दीज कंपनीज बिकम वेरी बिग, व्हिच दे विल एंड व्हिच इज नॉट राइट, आई एम अग्रीइंग. बट ऐसा नहीं होगा कि कहीं ना कहीं की बहुत मतलब एम्प्लॉयमेंट में प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए. दैट्स माय बिलीफ. क्योंकि वो what they will do is a lot of the companies will operate under their umbrella, but they will also keep growing. Because that company is growing, that company's business is growing. So their demand from these small companies will also keep growing. So the balance of power shifting is something which has been happening across the world. और ये इंडिया में भी होगा. और ये I don't think ये right है. But ऐसा नहीं होगा कि ओवरऑल मास लेवल पे लोगों को लॉस होगा. I think the number of jobs created will also go up.
So few years ago, we used to be excited about 14th February, but now we are eagerly waiting for 1st February when Nirmala Sitharaman comes up with a budget. So what do you think that the government should do to help the Indian economy, especially the corporates? And given that USA directly gives out checks for being unemployed, like government paisa deti hai ki ye lo, you have a check over here. So what do you think that the government should do for the corporates and to keep unemployment in check?
Yeah, this is मैं बोल दूंगा चलेगा, but this is easier said than done, right? ये बहुत nuanced issue. You have to think कि government ने बहुत सारे bonds छाप लिए, government ने बहुत सारा नया, मतलब they have printed a lot of currency, government ने repo rate all time low पे रख दिया. So already they have done a lot of things. So what more can they do? Of course they can do a lot of things, but I don't think that I am eligible to comment on that. But one thing which I would like is वो लोग डिले कर दे इंटरेस्ट लोन पेमेंट्स वगैरह, जो मॉरेटोरियम था अगर वो बिग कॉर्पोरेट्स को दे पाया, एसएमईज वगैरह को वो इंटरेस्ट माफ कर पाए, जो बेसिक चीज हो सकती है अगर वो कर पाए तो अच्छा है. बट या आई डोंट थिंक आई एम एलिजिबल इनफ टू कमेंट ऑन दिस. इट्स अ वेरी बिग थिंग एंड इट्स बहुत ज्यादा लेयर्स ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग है इस चीज के लिए. तो मतलब आई कांट जस्ट क्रिटिसाइज कि इन लोगों ने क्या किया या कैसे किया. Let's
no, but if you had one opinion to give,
then I would say कि SMEs को support करो definitely, and if possible, like it's a best case scenario, interest free loans definitely, because that's something which is needed. They need it. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि grow करने के लिए चाहिए, इनको survive करने के लिए, sustain करने के लिए पैसा चाहिए, working capital चाहिए. तो अगर वो हो सके, if you can give out easy interest free loans, that will be good. But yeah, that's a
Thank you.
Hypothetical situation.
Thank you so much, Anshuman. I'm sure our listeners will take a note from that.
Okay. So we close the third segment here and we move on to the fourth segment. So TK, we'll throw words at you one by one and you don't have to take much time. ऐसे जो भी immediately आता है बोल देना, please.
The first word or phrase which comes to you, like
cool.
Okay, so I'll begin. My first word would be, I'll take it from the episode name only, numbers.
Unimportant.
Luxury.
Want.
Education.
Necessity at some level.
Socialism.
Myth.
Bulls versus bears.
Emotional ride.
IMF.
USA.
Hedging.
Necessary for business.
FDI.
Much needed move.
And the last word from my side is, you must have anticipated it and you have to be real quick about this, okay? Tanmay Bhatt.
Take second. Mentor.
Tom and Jerry.
Real life story.
Thank you so much for your response.
Great. Thank you, Anshuman, for doing this. And we'll just conclude it with two questions that we asked the guest speaker. So the first question from my side would be, so, we all have mentors and gurus, guides whom we look up to, in your case, for financial wisdom or to enhance your knowledge. Could you list down your mentors or the people you look up to gain that financial wisdom from?
Financial wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think.
Yeah,
सही में वो-
I know for a fact that you read a lot of books on investing and finance in general.
I do, I do, I do, I do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can, if I can name my authors only, so it's Peter Lynch, definitely one of them. Then there's Charlie Munger for his unfiltered opinion on everything. Then there is this guy known as George Soros. He's a trader.
Okay.
Then I'll name a few. अगर ऐसे चल रहा है तो I'll name a few. But I have to think. Actually, my problem is I do not look up to a person. I look up to a
Hmm.
person's value. Like because I cannot like an entire person. Like
Right, right.
well, I do not have to like an entire person. That's the thing.
Correct.
So that's why I get inspired by a lot of people a lot of times.
Hmm.
And then there's for my productivity and everything, there's James Clear for sure. Uh, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darshan.
Okay, so the last question from my side, and to conclude this episode, is one defining moment or a turning point in your life that you're going to cherish throughout.
Yeah, I think
It can
the
be
lockdown.
positive or negative, like could
Yeah,
be.
lockdown, I think, was something altogether different for me because I expected it to be bad, but it was good because, and this is the first time I realized the importance of work ethic, and I became very disciplined in my life. And I also happened to be involved in a job wherein um, I did not need to be disciplined, but I made sure that I got disciplined. So yeah, so for me,
Mhm.
this period of lockdown was something which will leave an impression for a very long time. Apart from that, the life has been quite comfortable.
Great. Many thanks for joining our podcast, and we wish you good luck.
Thanks for